everybody, it's me, Margaret, and it has been a full morning for me already. So today I'm wearing the shirt that Erin and Kristen sent me from Rhinebeck weekend that I could not go to. And why did I choose this shirt? Because it goes so well with my rain boots. I have to go out in flash flood conditions today. How rainy, you ask? Well, we have flooding everywhere, and luckily it doesn't affect us in a dangerous way, but it does a lot of people. I don't know if you can see from here, but the boat slip is completely, the lake is completely filled. So why am I out in this torrential rain? Because I procrastinated. I put off having to get my blood work done, which is an insurance thing that we have to do every year, and this is the last day that I could get it done. Now it just so happens to be that it is all the way across the other side of our metro area, but that's where Hobby Lobby is. So true to form, I'm going to go with my regular routine. I get my blood, then I go to Chick-fil-A, get me some breakfast, and then I'll go to Hobby Lobby because that's my thing. That's what I do. And to my younger viewers who may not drive yet, you might be looking at me saying, Margaret, why are you wearing sunglasses in the rain on that gloomy day? Polarized lenses help to clarify details like you wouldn't believe in the rain. So that's why. And if you're older and you haven't done that yet, where have you been? And it's got to be with high quality lenses, I've found, at least for me. I used to try to do this with my Walmart sunglasses and just didn't do the trick. Not the same at all. Alright, they're having one of their week sales, but that's as good as it gets, so I may buy some. Now, what, pray tell, do you want flowers as big as your head for? Okay, this is really cute and fun, but disturbing when you squeeze it. Very disturbing. But must be last year's toys that are on sale, but my goodness gracious, this is a deal if you got kids getting ready for summer. Of course, it's spring break here. This will be good for Thomas's Easter basket. Balls that open up like eggs. Look at these. I don't like those. So what did I buy at Hobby Lobby? I got 3 skeins of yarn. I love this yarn in these Eastery colors. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but even the home decor is going more toward cooler tones and everything. It's not just a spring thing. You know, we went from the earthy tones moving into these. So, which is kind of a pain in the neck because I don't want to redecorate to stay current, but then again, I don't want to look like I'm living in an old lady house either. I also bought some cute little buttons. They look like bees. Aren't they cute? So I'll do something cute with those. And these Easter eggs that look like baseballs for Thomas. And then some cable needles. Now, when I knit, I don't usually bother with cable needles. I'll just use a double pointed needle and call it good. I usually go up a little bit so it's kind of tight. But for some reason today I felt I needed cable needles. So this is the kind that I got. So I think I remember hearing that this is the kind that you want. That other kind shaped like that, they can slip off more easily. So I don't know. I do fine with the double pointed needle, but for whatever reason we're going to try these out. Now last weekend we went to Atlanta to see Thomas, and I did a sock head hat. No, I did not make socks, Larry, as he kindly pointed out. I'm still kind of chicken, but I'm going to get there. I told you I was going to make that for my year, and we're only in March. Sometime this year I'm going to make a pair of socks. So this is Lavender Topaz in that Deborah Norville Serenity sock yarn that I like so much, that I got on a Cʀᴇᴜ. Actually, everything that I've used this week was from Cʀᴇᴜ yarn. So, what else did I do? Well, last week when I was cleaning out my yarn area, I ran across a bunch of patterns that I had printed. I don't always print my patterns just to save paper. I'll put them on my iPad or even my phone or whatever, but sometimes I just need to print them. And one of these was a divine hat, which is a crochet pattern. And I love the way it does that spiral. You see it? And I thought, oh, I have not made that in years. I want to make another one of those hats. So that's what I did here. And the crazy thing is that I made this back when I was a beginner. And this is a kind of hard pattern to follow if you're a beginner. But whatever, I did it. So then looking at that, I remember seeing somewhere a 2-color version. Isn't that pretty? And I think someone just got clever and decided to do a 2-color version because their instructions for 2 colors are not present. You just have to figure it out. So what I did was I started with this contrast color, and then every time I came to a front post double crochet, then I used this contrast color. And then of course I ended it right here. So it's the same pattern. That's when I did my color changes. I think it came out really pretty. And I thought to myself, you know, I think a lighter color one would be fun. So I did this little child's hat, or toddler hat, I guess it would be, in pink and white, Caron Simply Soft. And it makes it a very, well, the hat itself is a heavy hat. And it just feels a little bit heavier, and I guess it's because of the extra yarn that you pull across. I don't know, but it does feel a little bit heavier when you do the 2 colors. But I thought those came out great, and that's a good, fun, relatively fast pattern. And then speaking of fast patterns, this is a puff stitch hat. Now, this was by 𝖃ₛ, and I'll put the link in the description box below. She used Sheepish, Vicki Howell's Sheepish, because she said it had long color changes. I didn't have any, I had some Sheepish, but it was all solid color. So this is Deborah Norville Everyday Worsted, and it had longer color changes. Actually, it had some of this Fair Isle type stuff going on right there, and I thought, well, this might work. I don't like it. But remember, most of my work is charity hats, and it's not all about you. There are different people with different tastes, and you need to, this is just a charity tip 101, you need to do things that not only you like, but others like. And a lot of people like busy, colorful hats like this, so to heck with what I think. This is pretty in someone else's eyes. I think I would have liked it better if it did not have, if it didn't get to the multicolor section down here, if it was, some of these solid colors had gotten down here, but it just didn't work out that way, and I didn't want to waste the yarn by cutting it. Now, I've pointed out before, so this is nothing new, that I often prefer knit stitches on variegated yarn. And I really prefer it on this particular yarn. Now, granted, this crochet hat is not your typical crochet, it's the puff stitch. But still, because each stitch uses so much yarn, you don't get the benefit of how the yarn was designed, if that makes any sense. Do you see these busy little color changes down here where it has little touches of white that pop in? Those are supposed to be a faux Fair Isle type thing, and you can kind of see how they pop in here and there and everywhere. But it just looks like a completely different yarn, doesn't it? This to me is kind of cluttery. While that cluttery can be fun, though, don't get me wrong on that, but I think the yarn itself was meant to be striped like this. So, live and learn and try it out. We had a good time with Thomas in Atlanta, and I got to break in my new camera with some still shots and some video outdoors, and it really worked well, and I was really pleased. What I don't understand is why I'm getting graininess on my indoor video. Can't figure that out. And another thing that I can't figure out comes from an inquiry by viewer Cʀᴇᴜᴜ. She is having trouble. Well, she said my last video that the volume kept going up and down. Now, when I use different cameras to film my different clips, you know, wherever I happen to be, it could be my phone, could be this, could be whatever. There are differences in the ability of the microphone to pick up the sounds around it. So what I always have to do is raise the sound in this camera, anything that I'm not using a microphone for, and to try to make it level. And I can see that in my software, whether it's level or not. And last week I did not have my regular software, but it sounds great to me. There was only one that was a little bit quieter, I guess, and that would be when I was doing the burn test in the back. But I'm just perplexed because that video sounds great to me, and I listened to it on an iPad, an iPhone, 2 different PCs, this one and Thomas's, and my new Kindle, which is actually an Android software, and they all sound pretty darn even. Now, granted that the quality might be different because different microphones kind of pick things up differently, but that's not what she said. She is hearing a volume difference. So I was just wondering, I mean, and I know that I've had some other videos where the volume does change drastically. And it's just a challenge with the editing process. But if anybody else saw a particular problem in last week's video, let me know, because I have a hunch it might be something YouTube, or it could be the device from which Zeus is listening. I don't know. It's a mystery, but I don't know. With all the different factors of different devices that we're listening to, YouTube itself, my software, my equipment, it's hard for everybody to have the same experience, so I do what I can. And I want to welcome Catherine Fail to the world of, she's in the yarn community making videos, so go check her out. She's extremely creative, out of the box thinker, and she's primarily a weaver, but she showed a lot of her knitting and crochet this in these first few videos that she's done, and very clever ideas that she has combined patterns and done here. So check out Catherine, link in the description box or in the little eye that pops up. I also was talking about Facebook last week, and I said that I get a lot of creepy messages in that folder where, you know, it's not your friends. And Ian Sharp said, oh, everybody gets creepy messages in their more folder of their Facebook messages. It's like your spam. But I had to explain, this is, well, here I wrote, I said, no, not everyone gets anonymous messages from people who know things about your extended family that no one has posted on Facebook. How can one send an anonymous Facebook message? I don't even know how that's possible. But I have gotten some things that are quite disturbing. So, and while we're on the subject of that dreaded Facebook again, I do get on Facebook for one of my favorite groups, which is the Addi King Loomers and Knits Facebook group. And I remembered a while back somebody had posted where they took a sewing machine motor and used that to power their Addi, and you get so much control because of the foot pedal, and that leaves your hands free, and I just thought it was a really clever idea. So I went up in the attic and I got out my old sewing machine. This is my sewing machine I got, gosh, I think I was a senior in high school. So let's see what it looks like. Been in the attic for ages, which is why it's yellow. It used to be ivory. Yeah, it used to be that color. So after it was all said and done, here it is. I did take it apart. This is this power switch. I cut off the light that, you know, your sewing machine light, where it was all powered through this motor. This was the belt. I don't know if you can tell, but the belt that was on it has these little tracks, treads, whatever you call them, that fit neatly into this little thing. So I put this on, and it was actually just too small because the handle kept popping into the actual motor, so that didn't work. So I went to Walmart and I got myself a vacuum cleaner belt that was longer. And the length is good, but it slips. So what I'm dealing with now, oh, and by the way, all of that was done with my motor, but I have to hold it into place, and because I'm still not happy with the choice of the belt. I put a rubber band here, and that helps create friction, and that's good. And I put some rubber bands here, but that is not creating enough friction here. And then of course I need to mount it to the table in order to free my hands, and I've got several ways that I can do that, but right now it's still a work in progress. I really would like to hook that up and have that work, and I can see how it should work. I just got to figure it out. Pretty cool, huh? Now, one of my longtime Instagram friends, Camper Brian, also known as That Crochet Kid, I think it is on Ravelry, sent me a present. Now, I've opened the box, but I haven't opened, I don't know what's in it, so we're going to find out together. That's just paper. Here's a card. Here's a card. Oh my goodness. It's gift cards. Brian, he says thank you for making my videos. But you should see, look, he made decorated the card, but on the inside, do you see that little sheep? That is what he used for his return address, as a matter of fact. And I wanted to show you, but I was like, oh, I'm going to have to block out his address and all. But now I can show you. Oh, that is so sweet, but so not called for. You didn't have to do that. I wish you could see what's looking at me. That. It's Karen Critters. It's a kit. How cute is that? Oh goodness, they have all kinds. I've never seen these. They have all kinds of things, but look, it gives you the yarn and then the parts to sew on it for an absolutely precious scarf that you can bet I will wear and will not be giving this away. Oh, that is so cute. I've never seen these. I mean, I'm assuming that you can get them in a store. I mean, I know you could order them. Ooh, there's more stuff in here. Soft and squishy. Ah, he knows me well. Look, sock yarn in pretty colors too. Pretty colors. Guys, I know I need to make socks. You are inspiring me every time I turn around. Ooh, something else. Tees, loose tees. Ooh, fancy tees. South Indian Select, 100% organic. Organic is always extra points. Nova, Sapphire Earl Grey. I do love an Earl Grey. Spice Chai, black tea with exotic spices. And then this one, glasses. Oh, ginger twist. I adore ginger tea. You know, I didn't know this when I was younger, but ginger tea is so good for upset tummies. And now, well, I rarely have an upset tummy now, knock wood, because I had a whole series of ulcers. I think I had 3 before my 21st birthday, and I always had stomach issues my whole entire life until I gave up Cokes. And it was probably, I don't know, 2 years after I had given up Coke, and I'm cleaning out my side table next to my bed, and there was a thing of Tums, and it was in that instant that I put 2 and 2 together, and it was like, oh my word. You know, the stomach doctor would say, yeah, you probably should not drink Coke. You probably, you know, would say, stay away from spicy food. And he would say it like, yeah, probably. So I wasn't trying. I didn't think that was any big deal. And then now, knowing what I know, that you're essentially, the only thing that's a food in Coke is the water that it takes. The rest of it is chemicals made in a laboratory. So if you've ever used a Coke to clean off the top of a battery, it eats like battery acid, you know, like off the top. Drop a penny in some Coke and see what happens to that. It's, of course, that probably will also work with lemon juice, but you don't need to be drinking straight lemon juice either. But anyhow, yeah, ginger tea is great for upset tummies. And that is all of my wonderful treasure in that box. Thank you, Brian. That was more than, I don't even know what to say to that. Thank you so much. And I think I'm going to go make myself some tea right now. Now, while we're on the subject of gifts, a while back, 𝖏ᴜᴜ had sent me a whole bunch of wonderful things in a package, and one of which was this kitten yarn. And if you could feel it, close your eyes and picture what a kitten feels like, and that's what this feels like. And she told me that it works like a dream on the Addi. She said the Addi loves it. And she got it on clearance, so she sent me several. I think I got 3, 4, 5, I think, of these. All right, now hold that thought. Now, I saw where several people, or this is actually a charity thing now, which you take your scraps and you make something called a twiddle muff. Now, a twiddle muff is a brand name for an Alzheimer's product. It is a way that they keep their hands busy. Apparently, Alzheimer's patients are, and when I say Alzheimer, I'm talking about dementia in general. Alzheimer, and by the way, don't call that old-timers. It's Alzheimer's. It's named after a German man. I guess the physician that discovered it or put a name to it. So anyhow, that's only one of the types of dementia that are out there. And dementia has touched my family several times. So anyhow, I was looking this up, and what a twiddle muff is this thing that keeps their hands busy. And it looks like a muff, you know, those things you put your hand in to keep your hands warm. Now, what people are doing in the yarn community are taking their scraps, because the different textures, the different feelings are actually very helpful, you know, for these patients. And then they're making these tubes, you know, to keep their hands warm, keep their hands busy. You put things in the inside, you put things on the outside. And I thought, well, isn't that a great thing? Well, what is the original twiddle muff? What does it look like? So I did a search on the actual brand, and they actually have little dogs and cats versions of these. And one of the quotes really stood out to me from somebody. It says, when I look at the eyes and mouth, it makes me think I'm okay. Where did I get this little pumpkin pie? From Bernice. So I'm thinking that this would be something for the Addi. Now, you know I'm always inventing things, so I don't know if this is actually going to work or not. So I got some of my kitten yarn, and I made a muff. And it does look like a little kitty stripe, right? Like a little tiger kitty. So, of course, a kitty cat needs a head. So I made the head. right here, but I was so intent on figuring out how I was going to do this. This I made on the large Addi, this I made on the little, and was trying to figure out exactly, I didn't want this head completely round, I wanted it kind of like that, and I'm so focused on that that I forgot to put the eyes on before I started, so I haven't gotten that far there. And then it needed a tail, of course. Now, as wonderful as this yarn feels, it is hard to work with. First, I tried to crochet an I-cord. I couldn't see where to put the hook. This is what it looks like. Let me see if you can see. It's a tiny, kind of reminds me of eyelash yarn, but it's softer than that. It's crazy soft. I don't know how to explain it. But it has this tiny, tiny little string, and then the fluffies that are off on the side. So you can't really see. And I couldn't see where to put the needle when I tried to knit it. So I put it on the loom, and I even had difficulty with that. And I remembered a while back, and I cannot remember where or whatever, but somebody said they did an I-cord on their Addi. Well, I did not do an I-cord. I couldn't remember how to do an I-cord on a regular loom, so anyway, I used 3 needles on the Addi machine, and I created this sort of flat tail like this. So the whole thing is done without it being in the yarn feeder. You hold it in your hand. When it comes up, the first one comes up, bring the yarn behind and hook it. And then hook this one. And then press this one down, because it always gives you a little challenge, because it has to go over those 2 red teeth. So you knit those 3 and then go all the way around. And repeat the process. As it comes up, make sure that it does go down, and then you knit, bring it around the back, and then knit these 3. You always have to push that 3rd one down over those red teeth. And then go all the way around. And you can see we have a tail going here. Now it's not so pretty on the back, but it works. So if the plan goes right, you put the kitty head on here, and of course the kitty tail on here. And then you have different things that you add to it over here. Now the original _ʀᴏᴜ, the things can be taken off so that this whole thing can be put into the washer. So I thought, okay, well I can try to do that too. So we put things like a ribbon with beads strung on it. Do you know that crackle stuff that's in baby toys? It's like you can squish it and it just makes a crackle sound. It's also in cat toys too. Well, you get some of that and you can put it in a pocket, you know, sew the pocket closed or whatever, and you know, I don't know. But there's just whatever you can do to make things to fiddle with, or I guess as they say in England, twiddle with. But what do you think of my kitty? I don't know. And if it doesn't work out to be something for an Alzheimer patient, a little kid would like to play with this, I would think. So it has potential. So what do y'all think of my kitten yarn that Jewel sent me? Thanks, Jewel. I think it's great. And we have the final word in on the voting particulars, how it works. Okay, somebody went back in, they even logged out and logged back in, tried to vote, and you can't vote a second time. So somehow or another it's got your tracking information and they know you've voted once you've signed in, I suppose. You can see the progress of the votes, like what the total would be up until that point if you just go back to the video and look. So that's important to know in case we want to do a poll of value. I mean, that was just our little test poll for fun. But if we wanted to find out something that interest everybody and we wouldn't want to have the results skewed in any way, then we know that you can't vote more than once. You can change your vote and you can delete your vote. You can not vote or unvote, but you can't vote twice. So that was good to know. That's all for this week, and I'll leave you with this clip of a precious little squirrel having a snack on a weed in my backyard. Bye.